We want to get the founders before they put in a bunch of time, money, and effort so that they're not wasting time, I mean, they can certainly pursue whatever it is that they want to pursue. But at that point, I just say it's an expensive hobby.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Startup Wisconsin podcast. In today's episode, we're heading down to Madison, Wisconsin to sit down with Beth Ott, the Director of Entrepreneurial Programming at StartingBlock. If you're not familiar with StartingBlock, it's one of Madison's key entrepreneurial hubs. But what makes it special isn't just the co-working space or the events they host, it's the intentional way they think about community building and supporting founders at every stage of their journey. Beth has worn many hats over the years, and she brings a really thoughtful approach to creating the kind of environment where entrepreneurs can actually thrive. We dig into StartingBlock's evolution and impact, including some of the programs you might not know about yet, including Leap Year, one of their newer initiatives. We also explore what makes Madison a great startup community today. But what I really appreciated about this conversation is how Beth thinks about showing up with heart and purpose in this kind of work, and her advice for anyone just getting started, whether you're just launching a business or looking to mentor others. So let's jump into my conversation with Beth Ott from StartingBlock.
The very starting point of my journey with education was this desire to help other people and to help them learn something. So watching them learn something that they previously didn't know or helping them understand a really hard concept. When you see that light bulb come on, and this is like maybe the cheesiest thing that a teacher could probably say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like when you see that light bulb come on, there's something that happens inside of you and you're like, I want to help more people experience that light bulb moment. So that's how I got started in education. I work with a lot of different types of students. So the spectrum of students is like students that know what they're doing and just need a little support. And then you have students that, need a lot of support, but are also really smart. The gamut of students that I worked with was wide and large. So that really helped hone my skill set as far as like different types of people and how to work with them. The entryway into entrepreneurship, I got my entrepreneurship bug in, I would say college, late college, maybe during my first teaching year. I met a good girlfriend and we started flipping furniture. This was back when all those flipping furniture houses or shows were like real hot. They would like paint the furniture or restore it or slap something on it. And I apologize that I was part of that.
We appreciate the apology.
I'm very sorry for all the really nice pieces of wood that I painted over. But throughout that part, we transitioned into actually restoring furniture. So we actually ended up in a pretty nice place. People would give us vintage furniture that we would actually restore rather than ruin with great chalk paint. So that business was called House on Jenny Street. And that was really fun. We did like the market scene, selling our wares and vintage stuff. And people really liked it. And then, we just started growing up and found different things to work on. So that was sort of my entryway into entrepreneurship. While I was teaching, my last teaching job was at Clark Street Community School. It's a innovative charter within the Middleton Cross Plains Area School District. So they do seminars based on topic, not subject. So you can think about it like if you wanted to learn about science, you could approach that from a variety of different ways. The way that we choose to approach it is so you could learn about science via the weather and take a class called natural disasters, or you could learn about prehistoric eras during Jurassic Clerk. So we got to play around with how we delivered instruction. One of the classes that I taught was with Scott's wife, and it was called Clark Tank. So it was a version of Shark Tank, but for Clark Tank or for Clark Street. So we led students basically through a startup scene. So starting with they had to go interview entrepreneurs and business owners. And let me tell you, watching high schoolers make phone calls, because we required that they had to make a phone call. And, they hated us, but it became into this whole thing, like having a teenager pick up a phone and call somebody that they don't know.
Yeah.
You should try asking a teenager to do that. I don't know if you know. I tried
calling an order in at this restaurant where my parents are from, and it's all ran by teenagers, basically like a little sub shop. And called 4 times, no one answered, and I walked in and there was 6 people working and no one answered the phone apparently. I get it.
Yeah. No, but having teenagers that have to make a call, they would go step out into a separate room because they didn't want anybody listening, right? And they would take some deep breaths and go, and they'd be like, okay, I'm going to go make this call. We would write out a script for them. So it was like, hi, my name is blank. I'm wondering if I could interview the owner of blank. Can we set up a time for me to do that? I'm in a class that is having us do whatever, right? Like 3 sentences. They came back in and they'd be like, I did it. I made the phone call. Oh my gosh. And like cheering, kids are clapping. And you're like, I'm so glad we could work on this life skill of making a phone call. So sorry about that tangent. So that was part of it. Like,
no apology. That was like, apologize.
That was like maybe the first task that people did in Clark Tank was they had to make a phone call, and it was a big deal. So they interview entrepreneurs. They figure out what mindsets of an entrepreneur there are, what you need. And then we start walking through the problem. What sort of problems do you want to solve? And so we do some activities and brainstorming and group work to uncover things that they want to work on, trying to find solutions. They do, prototyping, and then we get to the pitch part. And Clark Street has an amazing history of public presentations and how we prep students to speak publicly. So we felt pretty good about that, but you're asking us to do that for, to pitch their product. And we had maybe 5 days to prep them on how to pitch their product, do the slides, do a script, and then take a video of it, submit it. And because the main goal of this class was they had to submit their pitch to the Madison pitch contest, the Madison College pitch contest. So the first year we did it, and then like 5 of our kids got selected for the final rounds, and we're like, oh my gosh, like that's when we knew we're like, okay, we can actually do this. We actually know how to instruct. And it shouldn't have come across as a surprise. Like the teachers that I've worked with in my past, and this goes from, the group that I worked with at Clark Street and the group I worked with in Oregon and up in Minnesota. But Clark Street had some of the most amazing teachers that I've ever worked with in my life. So I shouldn't have been surprised that we could actually do this, that we could actually instruct a group of kids to solve a problem that they have in their life, build a business around it, pitch it, and then go on to win. Yeah. So that was, I can't take all the credit for that. It was a group effort, but that's when I was like, okay, like, yes, I actually like talking and teaching about entrepreneurship. I could do this. Yeah. And so I ran that class a few more times. And then the situation on how I got connected with Scott was he just had a job opening at the time. And the situation within like my own personal life, there were just things that aligned really well with me leaving one job and going on to a next. So I was really, really lucky to land that position because it wasn't like he created it just for me. He was looking for somebody to do in-house programming. So it really was one of those cheesy stars aligned things.
It sounds just the way you described, like when you see someone experience that light bulb moment, like being able to do that with, people that are building like real businesses. Yeah. And like it's the real world and it impacts them. It impacts maybe their immediate family. It impacts, the community.
Right.
Like there's just so much to that.
And so in that process of business building, the moment that you see a founder understand like either how they're going to get traction or when they finally understand their target market, right? And especially if they had thought something differently prior, like if they thought their target market was blank, but then they ran some tests or they talked to the people And then they're like, oh yeah, actually people don't want blank. They want this. Like, that's the moment you're like, yes, exactly. That's why you do customer interviews. That's why you build the business model first. That's why you stress test your business first. Yeah. So it's like, no, we want to get the founders before they put in a bunch of time, money, and effort so that they're not wasting time, so that they're not wasting. I mean, they can certainly pursue whatever it is that they want to pursue. But at that point, I just say it's an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so do you want to continue pursuing it, knowing that it's probably just going to be an expensive hobby, that the way your business is set up right now, it's not viable. It's not feasible yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let's talk about the programs that you have at Starting Block, just kind of like from a high level, as far as the accelerators, like related to what we're talking about. So you talked about the hard tech accelerator. We heard about MadWorks earlier today. Maybe just kind of run through all of them and how they're different and like who they're for, maybe.
Yeah. Too. So high level, we have, I would say 2 base programs that then we combine to be some of our industry specific accelerators. So our 2 base programs, one is a 6-week pre-accelerator called Level Set. That's the one that we run most frequently because it's only 6 weeks. And that's the stress testing before you put in the time, money, and effort class. So in 6 weeks, our goal is to not develop your widget or your service, but it's to really work on the business model. Let's make sure that things are set up so that they are desirable, they are viable, they are feasible. So we stress test those areas, and that's in Level Set. The next level up is actually called the Next Level. And that's the 12-week accelerator. That's where you spend more time talking about customer discovery, problem discovery, making sure things are aligned correctly. Are you solving the right problem with the right solution for the right people? Mm-hmm. And so that one is a 12-week accelerator. Then what we do is we combine all of those and we run a sort of squished together industry specific accelerator. And so we work with different industries around town. It could be banks, it could be corporations, it could be really anybody that is looking to put more energy into solving problems around blank. Yep. So we have run accelerators in the past with Summit Credit Union, with Associated Bank. We're running one this year with American Family Insurance. They are interested in the housing market. And so we're running a housing accelerator /challenge /mini series thing this summer.
It sounds like it's a work in progress. Like you're trying to figure out what does this actually look like in practice? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it took us a lot. We're still working on it, but we think we've sort of landed on it. But the housing market one, that one really came from like, oh, Madison has a housing shortage. How do you solve that? And that is such a multi-layered, multifaceted problem with as many stakeholders as you can shove into an elevator, that we didn't realize that it would take us 3 months to really figure out what exact problem we are trying to solve. So mapping that problem set and that problem criteria took us way longer than we thought. So back to the accelerators, we have Level Set, we have Next Level, we have the industry specific accelerators. And then we have Leap Year.
Oh yeah, this is the new one.
Yeah.
So maybe talk about it first, and then I have questions around it.
Okay. Okay. So Leap Year, this is where I start to get a little bit excited because like it's literally the merge between my 2 favorite things, which are like education and entrepreneurship. So the workforce is changing, and we all know that. We know, and yes, AI plays a large part of that, but it's also just changing in general, right? Education in general has not changed in the last century. They always say that if somebody were to try time travel from the past to now, and they were to get dropped in a school, they would be like, yep, I know exactly what this is. I know exactly what they do here. And that wouldn't be possible if you were to like be transported, into like a car field or a car field.
Automotive.
Thank you. An automotive field, good, yeah. Automotive assembly line, right? Sure. Or something like that, right?
Like manufacturing.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
It wouldn't be possible if they, got dropped in a manufacturing plant or in downtown or in small businesses or on a train or an airplane or anything like that. But education is the one thing that hasn't changed. Our arc of change is just so much slower. And I don't think it has to be. The problem is that you have to, the friction at which you are working to change education is so hard to change. But I think we are getting to that point right now, which is why I was so excited to launch Leap Year, because the point in our society, in our world, all around us, things are sort of at this inflection point. Things are changing, and they're changing rapidly. And so I'm looking to transform the future of education is really what I'm trying to do. It's like an easy task, right?
Yeah. Sounds so
all I have
simple.
to do is like launch a program. It's super easy. So transforming the future of education right now for me looks like Leap Year. It looks like giving students a third option. Most people think that after you graduate or when you take a break, you have like two options. You can go get more education, and that can look like a lot of things, right? So the education could be in trades, it could be in theater, it could be in a formal 2 or 4 year college. So you can go get education or you can go to work. And again, that can look like a lot of things. It could be an internship, it could be an externship, it could be study abroad, it could be work for your parents. It could be do some side hustles. It could be find a real job, whatever a real job is. I don't have one. So,
that's the question today. It kind of goes back to where this whole thing is like, what is a career anymore?
Yeah. What is a career in the era of influencers? Yeah. That's a career. Yeah. It's wild.
The amount of careers that exist today did not exist 10, 15 years ago.
I know. And that's the thing is like when those people were in high school or were going through their educational career, they didn't even know that those careers existed. Yeah. So how do you instruct them? Well, yes, the very basics, reading, writing, math, all of that stuff is great and lovely. And can we get past that to talk about what the real thing is, which is some kids don't want to go to school or do more learning, and some kids don't want to go straight to work, and they actually want to build their own thing. They want to do what they want to do, and they want to learn how to make money off of it. That's called building a business. Yeah. Whether it's doing something that you want or finding a problem that needs solving and then monetizing it, that's called building a business. Why is that third option less desirable than the other two? I don't even think most people think that it's available to them post-graduation or post-college graduation. Yeah.
I'd imagine it's one of those things where if you grew up in my family, there's a handful of entrepreneurs. I have an uncle that became a mechanic, got his own shop, sold his shop recently, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I wasn't like surrounded by business owners.
I would be interested if he would identify as an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's also
actually a really good question.
Like,
I don't think he would.
Right, but he is.
But he is, yeah.
And that also I think is a problem, is that people think like entrepreneurship is relegated to like, I don't know, maybe a tech field or a bio field or maybe just innovation where you have to create something new and novel. When really entrepreneurship is owning your own business and learning everything that goes with it. So why Why is that not celebrated? I get that being an entrepreneur, there's risks involved. And I think that's probably why, parents, they want to protect their children.
Yeah.
They don't want them to be in risky situations. It's why parents also, are worried when their child chooses the armed forces. It's a risky situation. They don't want their children in risk. Mm-hmm. Is that maybe why they don't encourage entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I don't know. And it's interesting too, because there's a lot of career paths that have been available in colleges and even technical schools where that what they went to school for in 10 years may no longer be like something that they can pursue anymore. Yeah. So even if you do something that seems predictable, like everything's pretty much unpredictable at this point.
It's really unpredictable.
Yeah.
The what was I just going to say? It was something about, a lot of colleges. So the gap that leap year sort of fills too is this time-bound commitment too. So yes, you can go to a traditional 4-year college and learn some business and maybe get an entrepreneurship certificate, or even like a degree in entrepreneurship. 4-year colleges are also rooted very heavily in theory. So it's very possible that many of the projects that you might be working on in a business class or in entrepreneurship are theory-based situations. Like pretend you are building a blank for this type of business.
Yeah.
When you are building your own business, that theory all of a sudden becomes reality. So now you're not just building blank for this fake business. You are now building this for your own business. So the stakes just got higher, and all of a sudden you are more tuned in to learning and doing the right thing because you own your business and those results matter. Mm-hmm. So could I go to a 4-year college and get the same education? Yes, it will take 4 years for me to get a piece of paper that says, yes, I now know my stuff and things about business and entrepreneurship. Could I go to a technical college? Madison College has a great entrepreneurship program. And it's a 2-year program. I know that they work with small businesses. They have an entrepreneurship in residence. Their program is still 2 years. Mm-hmm. Leap year is 1 year, really 9 months of focused instruction and support on your business. Mm. And that's way different than learning and applying it to somebody else's business.
Yeah. Yeah, because you have like skin in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the phone goes away and people start paying attention. I talked with a couple young guys a couple weeks ago that I think would be like a perfect fit for leap year. One basically did online education before it was cool, like virtual education before it was cool, and then convinced his parents to let him pursue his dream job or, his business after graduating high school. His parents, their first reaction was like, why don't you go to college first? Like first go to college and then do this. The kid eventually went out and went all in on his business after high school, and they're crushing it. But I think they should be in my program too.
Nice.
Yeah. So like there's small people. Leap year isn't for everybody.
Yeah. Is there like an age? I don't know. I guess an age limit. I guess what are the kind of the credentials for someone to apply to?
Yeah. So for leap year, we're really looking at that like 18 to 26-year-old.
Okay. So post college, you could still.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So it could be the year after college, the year after high school.
Right.
Okay.
So it could be the year after high school. It could be the year after college. If you want to take a gap year, I think you should consider taking a leap year. Mm-hmm. There are people too that I just talked with somebody over at Starting Block, and their daughter went to college at Eau Claire for a year, and then they're done. They're done with college. It wasn't for them. Mm-hmm. It could also be for that, like leap year could be for that person too.
Yeah.
Like if you're not sure, but you have a desire, that's the one thing that I'd probably say is needed for a leap year type of program is like either agency or desire.
Yeah.
So you either have to be willing to do what it takes to build your business, or you have a desire to learn how to do it. But beyond that, like the age requirement doesn't matter. And the business type doesn't matter. And you don't actually have to have a business idea. Interesting. Prior to coming to Leap Year. Yeah, we spent 4 weeks actually just talking about cool problems to solve. Yeah. Is there for the application process, like what is that like if, maybe I went to college for a year or two and then it's like I've just been kind of working in an industry maybe for a year or two and I'm like just kind of curious what my other options are. Like if I were to apply and I was in that situation, like what would the interview process be like? Yeah. So, I mean, it's always free to apply. So I would say if you're interested, apply anyway. And then we do an interview to figure out if you're the right fit for the cohort. So we run this class in cohort situations. So we'll have a fall cohort, a winter cohort, and a spring cohort. And so trying to figure out the melding and the matching of cohorts is one part. Figuring out where people are in their business development. That's a me problem. That's something that I can solve. And frankly, that's like what teachers do all day, every day is you work with people that are at this level and at this level, and I have to instruct them both at the same time. So if you come in without an idea, or if you've been in business for 2 years and you're banking, 1 million ARR, can I help you both? Yes. Does the curriculum that we use help both? Yes. Because it's less about, going through a checklist of do this, that, and that, and more about a mindset and a framework of continuous iteration and involvement. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. So, yeah, Leap Year. Yeah, Leap Year. Leap Year. Where can people find out more information about Leap Year? StartingBlockMadison.org/Leap Year is the best place to find it. I think everybody should probably tell all their friends about Leap Year.
Today's episode is brought to you by Headway, a digital product agency based in Wisconsin. Do you need to design and build a world-class user experience for your software, but feeling like you just can't get there on your own? That's where Headway comes in. We're the folks who help ambitious startups and enterprise teams bring their product ideas to life through design, development, and product strategy. We don't just give you user interface designs and leave you to figure out the rest. We work with you and your target customers to create beautiful user experiences, build scalable design systems, and provide Silicon Valley level talent to get it done right the first time. Whether you're launching a new software or just looking to add features, we've got your back. We've worked with startups in industries like logistics, healthcare, fintech, and edtech, helping them solve their biggest software challenges. And here's the thing, no matter how complex your product is, we can help you gain clarity and get the job done together. We're so confident that we'll be the right fit that we offer a 50% money back guarantee if you don't think we're working out within the first 45 days. Ready to see how we can help you and your team? Just head over to headway.io and book a free consultation today. Maybe just speaking to some of the successes that you've experienced, as these founders are kind of going through these programs, the aha moments they have or the light bulb moments that you talk about, the experiences that people are getting through the programs that Starting Block offers. Yeah. So one of the biggest things that the software uses and that I see opens up founders' eyes is like the traction roadmap. So we map out sort of their customer factory and how do they move customers through that first entry point and all the way to making them paid customers. If you can see those numbers and make those numbers work, that's when I see light bulbs turn on, and that's where I see hope start to exist. Because all of a sudden they realize, well, I only need to get in front of blank amount of people.
And if we use, and this is just playing with numbers too. So we get to move things around. So if we use a standard, like 10% acquisition rate to 10% conversion rate, certainly I tell founders, like, go Google it and figure out, like, what is a standard conversion rate for blank industry or for blank product? Like, see if there's something out there. But if we use just standard 10%, all of a sudden people start to see, like, oh, I would need to get in front of that many people, and I think I can do that. And they're like, yeah, I can host webinars, and I can put flyers, and I can, do this type of marketing. And then, if I can get 10% of those people, and all of a sudden they see the numbers and they actually start to see it work. The reverse, maybe like not a light bulb moment, but like a light dimming moment. Mm-hmm. But I also think it's a light bulb moment. A dimmable light bulb moment. Okay. Is when they realize the numbers won't work. Oh. So all of a sudden, because of the way that they have priced things or their offerings or whatever, they realize that they would have to get in front of a massive amount of people in order to get that many paying customers. Sure. And the traction roadmap, we don't use a linear progression. We use, anywhere from like a 2 to 3 to 5 or 10x. But we're talking about by year 3. So the software allows us to say, okay, by year 3, this is what you're going to make, or this is what you could make, but this is how you got to get there. Mm-hmm. Well, if any of those numbers along the line cause them to pause, that is a success. Yep, you're right. You'd have to get in front of, 500,000 people every month in order to make X amount. So let's talk about what that looks like for marketing. Let's talk about what that looks like for outreach. How do you imagine that going? What is your skill set in this? So we start having those conversations. And so that to me is just as successful as watching somebody say, oh my gosh, these numbers work. Yeah. I can make this work. Yeah.
It's like a sobering truth. Like,
yes.
Oh, yeah. Like, I need to like make some decisions now.
Yes.
Like kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, do you want to charge more for your product? How do you do that?
Yeah.
What do you change?
Well, and I would imagine what's probably great about the tool you're talking about and just the mentorship and the programs is say, now that I have this framework that I can follow, here's the information I have today. Here's the different levers I can pull.
Yeah.
Whether it's price changing, different market,
exactly,
whatever. Like you give them that mental framework where before they may have not, maybe they instinctively did it.
Yeah.
Or they just like with their gut, did whatever. Mm-hmm. But now they're like, okay, I'm going to follow this framework because this has been proven to work.
Yep.
This makes things look very clear. And if I were to pitch to an investor, makes them clear for them.
Yes. And so then one of the last exercises I do with them too is practicing how to tell different stories. And one of them is their money story or their traction roadmap. Can you talk to me about your numbers and what they all mean? What does it mean that you have to get in front of X amount of people? How are you going to do that? What does it mean to have a 10% acquisition rate? How are you going to acquire them? How are you going to convert them? So all of being able to talk through those numbers and having the confidence to then go talk to somebody and be like, yep, I have this offer. This is how I imagine talking to people. And this is how many people I have to talk to. Like that builds confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like that's like half the battle is just like confidence building?
Oh, huge. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Like, I'd imagine like, I have this idea and I'm just going to keep pitching it.
Yeah.
But then the more questions that come up, they're like, well, like if they don't know how to answer it.
Yep.
Then it's like, there's obviously the lack of confidence is very clear. And so like, I would imagine that's probably just the biggest pattern change of behavior is like, oh, wow. Like everyone coming out of this program, they may not have every single answer, but they have more answers than before. Mm-hmm. And it gives them the confidence to keep going without us.
Yeah, exactly.
Or to not keep going.
Yes.
Like you were saying like, it's like, hey, pivot, or hey, I'm going to like go back and just see if there's maybe a different business idea I can pursue or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. All of that is right on, because what also happens is that if people can't tell me by the end of 6 weeks what exactly their business is, because, you come in and you might think it's this for that person, but then this group of people may like it. And I can imagine, and all of a sudden they want it to be something for everybody. By the end of our classes, if they can't tell me exactly what their product is or their service or their business, then I know like they're just not ready to keep moving. They got to go back and do some iterations.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to talk about some of the stuff with community and within Madison and Wisconsin, from your perspective, and then maybe even just Starting Block, what with your position and then with what Starting Block does, what has been like really great about being a part of Madison, like from that perspective, like locally?
Madison is very true to the Midwest standards of living, which means that we love helping people. We love giving people direction and telling people what to do. So one of the events that we put on weekly is like 1 million cups. There's 1 million cups that's up in the third floor cafe at Starting Block. And anybody can come pitch. They sign up ahead of time. And we usually ask them to have like an ask at the end, which is like connections or feedback or blank. The group that comes most frequently loves offering suggestions, and everybody's very happy to network and help each other out. So, and even within the Starting Block community, the founders that work out of Starting Block really value connection. That's why they're there. That's why they're there and not at some empty building that just happen to have some rooms that they want to lease. Or at home. Yeah. Or at Noodles and Company. Somebody told me today they work out at Noodles and Company.
I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah. But so that one's new. So that's why they come, is for the community. And so to keep building that community, they, participate in all these things, and they give feedback and they network and they give suggestions, and, they build friendships. And I think that's what I really like about the Madison network. We have a lot of resources in Madison for entrepreneurs. Yeah. Both on campus and off campus. So, it's not for a lack of, if entrepreneurs want help, it's not for a lack of resources. I'll tell you that. But there, as with anything, the problem with that is like, I don't know that we're that clear on what we all do great in this ecosystem. Yeah. Like, could we as Starting Block say, this is our goal, this is who we work with, and this is what we do? Well, we're place-based. We're interested in solving what we call Great Lakes problems, so Starting Block, that's what we're focused on, is those larger Great Lake problems and supporting our local entrepreneurs. And that means that they might not be venture backable. That might mean that they're opening a storefront. Yeah. So that's sort of our sweet spot. And just anybody in general that wants, and again, here comes the problem, is like anybody in general that wants a community of like-minded entrepreneurs, that's who we support at Starting Block. But then what does BioForward do? What does the Black Business Hub do? What does Doyen do? And like, how do all these different, when do you bring in the SBDC? When do you bring in WEDC? When do you bring in the Law and Entrepreneurship Clinic? So there's a lot of there's a lot of resources, but it's a matter of like, can we sort of all come together and figure out what are we all good at and how do we all work together? That I would say is maybe one of the larger issues, both in the Madison-Dane County area and broader Wisconsin area. You guys are doing an amazing job, like even just by creating a newsletter that pulls together all of the different things that are happening in Wisconsin. Yeah. Like
I feel like I'm only getting a little bit. Like every week I'm like, or sometimes I don't find out about something until the day after I publish the news. I'm like, well, now I missed it. And like, and I do my best to catch those things, but I also feel like I still don't know. And I want to keep that mindset. Like, I'm like, there's got to be more out there, because there probably is. Right. And then, the fact that you're talking about that there are so many resources, and I still think there's two things. There's an awareness problem. Yes. People just don't know what to look for, where to look, who to talk to. and it's not their fault.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it is like you're saying is like, if there was a way for all of us to understand who's all here, what are all of our strengths? And if someone comes through our door, hey, guess what? Like, what are you dealing with? Oh, I'm going to introduce you to these people.
Right.
Because they're actually a way better fit for you than we are.
Right.
We would love to help you, and we can to the best of our ability, but like, we recommend talking to them too.
Exactly. So like, that's what I think also needs to happen in this community, is just trying to define who's where and what they're doing and what they really want to be working on and all of that. But no, I really like your work with the newsletter and where that's headed. So what is the future of Startup Wisconsin?
Oh, we're gonna talk about that soon.
Yes. No,
yeah,
right now.
Andrew and I are actually gonna do an episode. So that'll be the first episode, is just talking about Startup Wisconsin.
Okay.
The things we've been experiencing, the vision, stuff like that. Talking about the show, like why are we doing the show? Have these conversations, like just openly talk about. We're all trying to figure it out. We're all doing our best. Like, everyone has really good intentions for the most part, but I think there's an opportunity for us to, and I know there was a recent study done with a few folks in Wisconsin on the ecosystem and just really how
the one Scott Resnick.
Yeah, the state needs to get aligned and like.
Have you found that article yet?
I haven't found it yet.
I haven't found it. I want to see it still. And Scott was like, "I've emailed Scott. We need the article."
If anyone has access to this, send it our way. So because I think like again, I don't have the answer to how to solve all those problems either.
Yeah.
But like, hey, like the thing that I know and I can do right now is just aggregate information and organize it in a way where it's people can find it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other problem is like a lot of people don't even know we exist either. So it's like, that's again, there's that. So it's like, okay, we're going to keep pushing forward. This is another format, another channel, like for talking about these things, for people to discover us or to just get a better understanding of the people behind the scenes, like trying to do these things and just understand like, hey, there's like really passionate, caring people out there that like want you to succeed.
Right.
Or want you to understand like, hey, this is what it's really going to take. And it might not work. Or, hey, it actually will work. And it's better than you ever thought.
Right.
Like there's anything can happen.
Yes.
So it's, I think there's just a lot there and it's a beautiful thing. So I think, we're all kind of like tumbling through this whole experience of trying to figure out like, cause we all like care a lot about like entrepreneurs, about our state, about the cities that we live in. And I think at least I personally feel like it's not really about as much as it's like about Wisconsin. I think it's about the people that live in Wisconsin, and like sometimes the resources they need. Did
you get that?
Sometimes the resources they need aren't actually available here, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
So how do we connect them? How do we help Wisconsinites get resources from wherever? If it's from Chicago, or customers, Chicago, Minneapolis, Detroit. Like, how do we really start to collaborate? Because like us just staying inside our walls doesn't benefit us either.
No.
So, and Chicago's not very far either. Neither there's Minneapolis, Twin Cities. So it's like, okay, let's like really figure out that's like success, not like, oh, how do we do it by ourselves? How do we just do it? Like, how do we really just make it happen?
Yes. Yeah. And that's part of also building the greater Midwest ecosystem is like in Madison, what are our strengths and what is our sort of industry? Right? Yeah. What do we focus on a lot out of Madison? Well, people may say like biohealth or something like that.
Yeah.
Fusion. Now, apparently we have a couple of fusion.
Yeah, which is really cool. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. But then what is Chicago and when do we send people to Chicago and what is that industry connection?
Yeah.
In Minneapolis, same thing. Like, what are they really working on up in Minneapolis? What would they consider their industry strengths and sort of network that they have available to them up there?
Yeah. And just the idea of tackling the Midwest as a whole, because there is a Midwest, Startup Midwest or something newsletter. I can't remember what it's called. I've reached out to them a couple of times.
Did you want to buy their handle? Did you want to buy their handle?
No. I just think that like the idea of like trying to understand the entire Midwest is a lot.
Yeah.
That's like, just handling Wisconsin is boiling the ocean too. Like, the term, it was brought up earlier today, whether if you say, hey, we're a product for everybody, that, and even too, like if for Startup Wisconsin, like we can't solve all the problems of Wisconsin in the startup ecosystem. Like we're going to solve what we can and just one problem at a time. starting with just awareness of what's happening and like, how do you get plugged in no matter where you live or whatever, or what problems do you have? Here's the organizations that can help you, or the accelerators or whatever. But I do think that like, there needs to be some sense of like, okay, what's going on in each state, each major city? How do we kind of map all that stuff out? And what's kind of cool about this AI stuff is that it'll hopefully help us solve that problem a little faster than just manually doing it all. But it's just something that we're trying to figure out. And, we've been talking about just experimental programming that we want to try with Startup Wisconsin that we'll bring up in the future. But like right now, it's just Andrew and I, and we're doing our best to just do with the resources that we have today.
Because another problem is resources.
Yeah. And that's like capital, like how do we have a budget to actually execute on it? Right. Do we have the talent on our team to actually follow through on it? Now, if we have a budget, there's all those missing pieces. And they'll fall into place when they're supposed to. But you have to have a strong vision to make that happen too. So that's we're in that vision stage, it feels like. And we're getting closer and closer to the other side of that. So
I like this idea of building like a Midwest coalition of startups and ESOs and stuff like that, because the problems that we're facing in the Midwest really should come from the solutions from the Midwest. Like you can't think that you're going to slap a East Coast or West Coast solution onto a Midwest problem. It's just not going to work. So we need local founders, people that have lived these problems, that have lived the experiences here in the Midwest to address these problems. So that's why we need somebody. That's why we need a connected ecosystem.
Yeah. And I feel pretty strongly about the programs and the pilots that run from all the different organizations across the state. I wish there was more data sharing across like, hey, how did that program go? Like what went well? What didn't go well? How do we really share those things with each other so we can say, oh, wow, that program in that city worked really well. Like, let's try it here and see. And from their learnings and stuff, let's reimagine it for us, take their best practices and then try it again. But then it's almost like we have to keep iterating ourselves too. And not just let's try this. And then it goes for a year and then it's gone. And it's okay, well, what was the point of that? I don't know.
I don't know if this was in that article that we can't find.
Sure.
But did it talk about, or if it was just something else that I read, but there's not a lot of research out there about entrepreneurial best practices.
Like entrepreneurial, ecosystem support?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That is a gap in the research community and field is there's nothing that's specifically about how do you best support entrepreneurs and the types of programs that are best out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's time for us to write that book.
You guys go
as we're trying to figure it out.
I'm done writing.
You're done writing.
I'm done with being educational.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to think of how I want to wrap it up. I also want to be mindful of your time because it's a little after 3.
Yeah. Do you have a fun question that you're going to end every single podcast episode with?
I don't have a one.
No, it needs to be what job or business or entrepreneurial idea do you wish most would get solved, or what problem do you?
So I do have questions. I actually didn't ask
because I would say somebody needs to freaking not invent. What's it called where you go from one place to the other? Transporting. Yes. Teleporting.
I
was like, transporting. That's great.
Yeah. So Star Trek, basically.
Yeah, because oh my God, I would just travel so much if we could figure that out. Can somebody do that?
I know. It sounds pretty easy.
Okay. Yeah. About as easy as, whatever thing. Yeah, time travel.
Time travel, it's the same, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
so no fun questions to end. Got
it.
You
answered a lot of the questions that you just intuitively answered a lot of things I wanted to talk about, which was great.
Oh, good.
So now I'm like, oh shoot, what do I ask? If someone is just kind of somewhat interested in they have this business idea, but they're like, I don't know, like, what would you tell them? Like, you know, maybe it's a friend of a friend and you met them, they're like at a restaurant because they're like, oh yeah, come over, hang out for a little bit. And you're like, yeah, so I'm thinking about this thing. Like, what would you be telling them, like, for advice? Like, hey, you should do this, you should do that. Like, what would you tell them?
I think I'd probably tell them to go talk to people first. Maybe read the mom test before they go talk to people. I would tell them to think about how they could like prove to me how they think it's desirable, how they think it's viable, and how they think it's feasible. And I'd say prove it, and then come back to me.
Yeah.
So,
do you think they should reach out to Starting Block? Like, what would that? I mean, and that's my question. Is like, you're telling them that stuff, but like, it would have first step be like if they were to like do it by themselves, like, what resources would you recommend to them?
Yeah. So,
Mom Test was a book,
right? Yeah. So, I mean, you know, let's say a friend of a friend, we're meeting over beers and they're like, I have this really cool idea. I'd be like, great, tell me more about it. And then if I think it has some legs, I'd be like, you should apply to Level Set. So Level Set is like our 6-week pre-accelerator, but it's also free because of a grant from Weedix. So the stakes are low for you to test out your business idea. And wouldn't you rather test your business idea and know that it's like has potential before you start investing a bunch of time, money, and effort into it?
Yeah.
Like if you can test your business. And so, yes, you can do that with Level Set, or you can, you know, go read the mom test, stress test the desirability, viability, feasibility on your own. There's a couple books out there too that you could do. So there's a sort of like do it on your own mode. Or if you want to do it with a group of like-minded people, that's when you should connect with us.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any people you want to like give a shout out to that, like, obviously you've been at Starting Block for a year, you talked about Scott. Is there anyone that like over the past year that has been super helpful to you, like in your role, specifically that you're like, oh man, this person like helped me so much?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think for sure Scott and Leslie, the other 2/3 of Starting Block. So we're a team of 3.
Yeah.
So we run Starting Block. We're lean and mean and scrappy, and we pull it off. And, you know, we pivot when we need to, and we do what we need to keep it running. So obviously shout out to them. The founders, I mean, they are really fun to work with. And so I love working with people that have business ideas. So everybody teaches me something, you know, whether that's something about myself or something about business that I didn't know, or something about a new industry that, you know, I can't know everything about every single industry. So I know surface level about a lot of stuff, but all these founders have deep, deep knowledge in their industry. So that sort of quells the knowledge quest part of my brain that, you know, likes to keep learning things. And so the founders always keep teaching me something new. So I really enjoy that. Honestly, like, I'll just shout out my old coworkers again from Clark Street. Like, I wouldn't be where I am or who I am today without them.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we were a crew of some of the most amazing teachers ever. And we co-taught all the time together. And so I learned so much from my peers. So I would say shout out to the OG Clark Street team.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
How do people that are curious about Starting Block and the programs that are available, how do they learn more about that, and how can they contact you if they're curious to ask you questions? Yeah.
So I would go to the Starting Block website and I would sign up for a tour. Leslie will give you the most amazing tour, and I will be surprised if you are not a member by the end of that tour. Starting Block has some amazing amenities, and it's an amazing space. So we're also, next time you come over, that's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
You'll see a renovation in action.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So big things happening over at Starting Block.
Nice.
So I would say sign up for a tour or sign up to know more on our website. There's, you know, all of that sort of information on there. You can sign up for a newsletter. If you're interested in Leap Year and you think that it might be for you or somebody that you know, I would say shoot me an email directly.
Yeah.
And that's at beth@startingblockmadison.org.
Thanks for joining us on the Startup Wisconsin podcast. We're on a mission to discover and share the stories of the passionate people making things happen within Wisconsin's startup and tech ecosystem. Want to support the show? Don't forget to subscribe and get updates. If you're feeling generous, you can share, rate, and review our podcast to help others find us. And if you have any questions about the show or know someone you think we should interview, feel free to reach out. Email jacob@startupwi.org. Want to discover events happening across the state? Head to startupwi.org to see what's happening in your city. You can also find currently available pitch events and startup accelerator programs available for founders right here in Wisconsin. All right, folks, until next time, let's keep moving Wisconsin forward.